In protest against the events of the 5th of October, Queen's University students decided to organise a peaceful demonstration from the university to Belfast City Hall. They were repeatedly thwarted in reaching their intended destination, and eventually, as captured in this image, resorted to a sit-down protest in the streets adjacent to the City Hall. Such sit-down protests were commonplace among student movements and activists around the world at this time. The students then returned to Queen's, where a meeting was held that gave birth to the People's Democracy, a movement that would play a significant role in Northern Ireland's 1968.
After, I think in Derry that day, people like Farrell said something needs to be done and we need to get something going in Belfast. And so we called this meeting in the McMurdy Hall. And it was overwhelmingly filled with people. And we felt the need to march from Queen's to the City Hall and protest. Now, I can't remember whether, in fact, we had gone through the legal procedures for that march or not. But what I can remember was the overwhelming support that we were getting from all different sides at Queen's.
Yeah, I think those students that were involved didn't necessarily all immediately join the People's... It was very difficult to join the People's Democracy. It was a kind of a movable feast. They held meetings and they went on for hours and hours, and they kept taking votes, as I understand it. And those who stayed the longest had the ultimate influence at the meetings that they held. It's not right to be smiling about it, but I suppose when you look back on it, it was innocent.
Right from the start, I guess this is the first time that young people from Protestant and Catholic backgrounds had been together at Queen's. There were, as I recall, an awful lot of international students at that time as well. And so it was very much non-sectarian, possibly the first time that people coming from segregated schools had met each other. So there was a freedom in particular, I think, for a lot of unionist students to express an anti-government view that they would never have dreamed of before and that their parents would never have dreamed of.
Universities are really, to a large degree, the breeding ground for politics, as I see it. Well, those who were unionists and that, I would take they were just students in college who were involved, and then very soon saw the errors of their ways, because they would see the direction in which the whole movement was progressing. And no unionist, unless he was a very sleepy individual, bound to see it. And obviously they just quietly moved from the scene.
Well, I favoured it. As a result of and following Derry, agitation then started spreading all over in Armagh and Newry and continuing in Derry. But the students were making non-violent protest, sit-downs, and they were getting a lot of publicity for the cause. And yes, I welcomed that very much. And of course they were involved in the television and radio as well. And that all was helping the cause up to a point.
The student body, I think, they would have been influenced possibly more by the French, the student protest in France. The student body, you were delighted that they were, because everywhere that had a demonstration, every aspect of, doesn't matter what part of the country or what group it was, that actually got involved. You knew it was spreading to different parts, and that was good. The students getting involved was also a very positive thing.
there were many decent people involved in the People's Democracy, but my feeling was that the motive force in the People's Democracy was to create disorder and violence and rioting. That is what their intention was. And they were obviously, by definition, they were students, they were young.